Why Google's is better?
I mean, Google itself is already the largest search engine in the world. I mean,
Okay, so mine's like there isn't giving much direction for the future, right? It's not really motivating anymore. Okay, what else? Good. What else? Look at their statement. Do you know exactly what they are doing here? Think about Google. What is the unique strength of Google as compared to other search engines? There are other search engines here, right? Like Yahoo. What is the unique strength Google has?
the large information.
Okay, so they can get a lot of information.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What else?
And Google is only not focused on search engine anymore. It is going to tech areas everywhere, like cell phone, like Android this
right.
system, and even it developed its own cell phone. And I read the news about Google is going to launch a program with Macy's and some other department store. Maybe let's go against Amazon.
Okay, so Google's direction actually is moving towards just doing a search engine that it actually goes everywhere, right? If you look at the Google products, actually there is a lot, including YouTube belongs to Google, right? So look at this statement. It gives a very clear direction that Google wants to organize the world's information. Everything they did relates to that, right? But if you just think about the Google's search engine, look at Google. Look at Google's homepage. Any idea? What makes Google unique here? From the search engine point, let's just look at search engine per se. Let me do another one. Let me do Yahoo. That's another search engine packet. Do you see any differences here? So what's the difference? Alex?
Google's simple and easy to use.
Right, for Google, there is nothing there, right? There is only one box. That's the search engine box. So basically, that's what Google actually is most proud about. That is, they help you to manage the information and in the way make it most accessible and useful. They never really present you with irrelevant information, unuseful information. Many occasions, web users actually complaining about they are actually surrounded by too much irrelevant information. And they don't really get the useful information. They have to skim the web page and try to figure out what is the useful information there. But the strength for Google is that they make it simple and useful. So they only need the necessities and they get rid of all the unbelonging things. So with the Google mission statement, it's very clear about what is their distinctive competency. It's very clear what are we. We are Google, we help you to organize information, and it's very clear we do two things. We make it accessible, which means that we cover a lot of information, and we only get useful information to you. So that's their strength. And we say it's also very specific. In many occasions, when you draft a mission statement, you may draft something with really big words, and when people read it, they don't really get what you are doing. But for this one, it's very clear about what they are doing, right? And if you're an employee, you would feel motivated about it. That's what we are doing, and you have a clear direction for that. So that's what we say makes up a good mission statement. After we have a good mission statement, the next thing we need to do is that now we need to convert mission statements into more measurable goals or objectives. So if we want to know whether our mission statement is accomplished, we need to have some means that we can really measure how we are doing here. And so these are the objectives and goals that are measurable. So like profits, sales, market share, quality, customer satisfaction, employee welfare. So these are the things that are very specific and measurable, because by doing that we can tell what's our performance here. After we set the goals, the next thing we need to do is that now we need to set our strategic direction. So we need to answer two questions. First, where are we now? And where do we want to go in the future? So we need to answer these two questions. By answering these questions, I'm going to introduce two important tools to you. One is called the business portfolio analysis. That's the BCG model. And the other one is the product market expansion grid. We will go over them one by one here. But before we go into that, I want to talk about a concept first, that is business portfolio. We say business portfolio basically is a collection of businesses and the products that make up the company. So it's like if you ever do finance class, you will talk about like investment portfolio. So basically it's a collection about all your securities, bonds, and other investment things that you did. Same thing here with business portfolio. Basically it's what a company has. It's all the businesses and the products that make up the company. After you set your strategic directions and you know where are you heading to, the next thing you need to do is to develop the marketing plan. And the marketing plan includes two things here, the SWOT analysis and the 4 Ps. And we are going to go over SWOT analysis as well today. So let me use CODA as an example to talk about the BCG model. So the BCG model, sometimes it's called the BCG growth share matrix, or it's called the business portfolio analysis model. It has multiple names, but basically it's the same thing. And it's a very important tool. I think if you look at the largest US companies, almost about 75% of the US companies actually have used this tool. So it's a very useful tool, and if you ever going to do some marketing related job, like related in the marketing strategy area, you are very likely to use this tool. This tool is developed by BCG. BCG is Boston Consulting Group. So it's developed by their company, so it's called the BCG model. By the way, did you hear the news? BCG actually is hiring McKinsey to do a consulting project for BCG. And the project is about to look for the strategic direction for Boston Consulting Group. And the tool McKinsey is going to use is the BCG model here. Okay, so that's actually a very interesting takeaway later. We'll see whether it will fail. Okay, so the BCG growth share matrix. Trying to understand this one, we actually need to get ourselves familiar with a few concepts here before we go into that. So I'm having 3 concepts here that we need to know what that they mean. The first one is called SBU. The second one is called product line. And the third one is called product. SBU is called the strategic business unit. This is the highest level of classification of a company's products. So if you're navigating, let's say for example, CODA. If you're navigating CODA's website, each of the box here, like digital cameras, all-in-one printers, digital video cameras, digital frames, this is the strategic business unit. Each box represents an SBU. So if we click digital cameras, here you can see there are different product lines here. It has the performance line, it has the sleek and the stylish line, and it has the point and shoot line. So each of that represents a product line. So for example, let's click the sleek and the stylish line. So you see the products on the screen here, they are all in the same product lines called sleek and stylish. And then, if you look at the product here, on the left column here, M-Stack 750. If you click on that one, that gives you the product. So that's the product. Product makes up the product line. The product line makes SBU, the strategic business unit. And the strategic business unit is the highest level of classification for an organization. Are we good on these 3 concepts? Okay, so now let's look at the CODA example here. So these are the 4 SBUs CODA has. The digital camera, the CODA film, the digital photo printer, and the self-service kiosk. So these are the 4 things they have. And what we need to do is that we need to place it on a matrix here. It's called the growth share matrix. The reason it's called a growth share matrix is because the vertical axis is the growth rate, And the horizontal axis is the share, is the market share. So that's why it's called a growth share matrix, or sometimes it's called a BCG model. So look at this model here. The vertical axis is called the market growth rate. This is the growth rate for the industry. It's the industry growth rate. It's not the growth rate for individual company. It's for the industry about a particular product. Relative market share. It's a market share, but it's a relative market share. The reason it's relative is because it's the market share of the company as compared to the market share of the top performer in that industry. So it's the market share of your company as compared to the #1 player in that company or in that industry. So that's why we call it a relative market share. So basically, based on the growth rate and the market share, we can classify products into 4 boxes here. The left bottom corner is called a cash cow. I say cash cow, which means that it has a low market growth rate, but it has high market share. So what does that mean? It means that you have a product, it's like a very good product that when competing with other competitors, your product actually has a very high market share. So which means you are almost like a leader in the industry. But that industry actually has a very slow growth rate. So in other words, you are generating a lot of cash from this product because you have a large market share. But because of the slow growth rate, you don't really need to invest a lot in that business anymore because the industry growth rate is slow. So that's what we mean cash cow. You need to have a cash cow because in this way, you can use the money you generated from this product to finance the growth of other products. The second one we call star. Star means that it's high on growth rate and high on market share. So it means that this product in the industry that has a very fast growth rate, so the industry actually is rapidly grow up. And your company is also playing a leadership role in the market by having a larger market share. But because the industry is rapidly developing, so it needs a lot of money to support its growth. So the money, where does the money come from? The money comes from the cash cow, right? So the cash cow has a lot of money that it doesn't really need to finance itself. So the money comes from cash cow to support Star, which is a rapidly growth industry that needs a lot of cash. Question marks. Question marks are on this side. Question marks is high on growth rate, but low on market share. So it means that question mark is in an industry that has a rapid growth rate, but you are not really getting a leadership position in that market. Now you are actually having a dilemma here. Shall we continue financial growth so maybe later on you can have a better competition with your competitors and you may increase your market share? Then you are moving towards the star. Or should we actually give up you and don't finance you at all? Then you may become a dog. So that comes the dog. Dog is the one that has low growth rate and low market share. And basically that's the one that you probably would drop and give up anyway. Doesn't have hope. So now let's use code as an example to better understand the BCG model. So basically what we found here is that this is a BCG model created by Coda Manager in 2003. And they are actually anticipating what is going to happen in 2010. So that's the BCG model they created. So if you look at those solid circles, that's where the product is in 2003. And if you look at the hollow circles, this is their prediction about where it will be in 2010. It's their prediction of the future. So let's look at them one by one here. The product item number 1 is coated fuel. So coated fuel in 2003 was considered as a cash cow, right? It's in the cash cow box. So it actually has really low growth rate, but it has like a relatively high market share. And if you look at the size, it indicates about like the money it actually has. So it has really a huge size, which means that it composes of a major revenue for the company. So if you look at this here, what do you predict it in the future? Let's say in 2010. Kodak film. Film is the major source of revenue for the company, and it was the cash cow in 2003. Where do you see it in the future? A star, a question mark, or a dog? A dog. It probably become a dog, right? Because the industry is completely going down. The film industry is going down no matter what Kodak did. Because basically it's replaced by the digital cameras. So there is really no hope there, and eventually they will phase it out. So if you are the manager of Kodak and you figure out the major revenue for your company is from the film, and the film is going to die very soon, are you going to start to be worried about the company? I guess that's why they're going to bankruptcy these days, I guess. They didn't really find a way to strategically change their position here. Okay, now let's look at the second one here, the Kodak digital camera. So if you look on the map, look at the solid circle. It's a question mark in 2003, which means it has high growth rate. It has relatively low, medium to low market share. Where do you see the digital cameras in 2010? Do you think Kodak's digital camera can continue to grow, or it's going to, the growth rate will actually drop? What do you think? What do you think about digital camera? Because the growth rate is an industry growth rate, right? What do you think about the growth in general for digital cameras? Do you think we will continue to grow, or actually the industry is going down?
It's going down.
It's going down. Why it's going down?
I mean, except for a photographer sake, but for every customer use,
like the ordinary
ordinary cameras, we don't need a digital camera. We have our phone, cell phone.
Okay, so in other words, first of all, most of us have a digital camera anyway. There may be room for those specialized cameras that we are getting here. So there may be a room there. And then for the digital cameras, we are not having so many substitutes that can be used to replace an ordinary camera, right? It's like the cell phones. Like many of the cell phones are doing a much better job now that they can actually replace the digital camera. So with that said, the growth rate will probably go down, right? And then the question is that whether it's going to be a cash cow or it may be a dog. So to maybe take a turn like that. That's actually what Kodak actually happened. So when they did that, actually from 2003 to 2006, Kodak actually has the Easy Share camera line. Do you know Easy Share? It's their star product line, Easy Share cameras. And for that one, in that 3 years, actually their sales doubled to 2 billion. So in that year, they actually predicted to be a star. But because of the entire industry is moving down, so it becomes a cash cow and eventually it may become a dog. I think now it's more like a cash cow, I think, something like that, because the growth rate is dropping. Okay, now let's look at the third one, digital photo printer. It was here in 2003. Where do you think it's going to go next? Digital photo printer. Do you think the industry will continue to pick up for digital photo printer? Do you think people would love to have photo printer at home? Do you all have photo printers at home? Do you think people would love to have that? Do you think people printing out pictures, by the way? Because if they don't really print out the pictures, then there is no need for a printer, right? A photo printer. So that's something they need to figure out. And what happened is that according to the statistics, in 2007 they found that 56% of the camera owners still printed images at home. So with that information, we probably would predict it will become a star at that time, right? Because people still printing out pictures. But anyway, even if you do that, what might be a substitute or competitors to digital photo printer? Can you think about any products that may replace digital photo printer? Like if we want to display pictures, do do we have to print them out? No, we can do digital frames, right? So that might be a potential competitor threat to the digital printer, so it may actually go that route again. So the last SBU is called CODA, self-service kiosk. Self-service kiosk was first introduced by CODA in 2002, I think. So at that time, nobody else actually provided self-service kiosk for printing pictures. Where do you see that in the future? Do you think it's going to continue to grow or it will actually go down? About digital photo self-service kiosk.
So it's probably a dog because it probably doesn't have a lot of market share and it doesn't have a lot of market growth because, I mean, with like better digital cameras and cell phone cameras, you're not going to go to one of the kiosks to print out pictures.
Right. So probably depending on like to what extent consumers would use the kiosk, right? Because there are so many alternatives, so kiosk probably wouldn't really take a large market share anyway. And do you think that CODA is the only one who provides the self-service kiosk? Do they get any competition there for the self-service part? Did you actually look at the ever try to see what are the self-service kiosks placed in the retailer store? Actually, if you look at it, most of them are CODA. And there are some actually are Fuji. Fuji actually started to place in the self-service kiosk. So that may even threaten their position in the market. So just now I reviewed the BCG model, and it shows basically what it tries to tell is about where are we now. So these are the solid circles. We need to know where are we now, and we need to know where are we going in the future. And the idea for that is, from the manager side is that if we know how these things will be doing